All right, welcome to week 3's math review video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do some math word problems that are covered this week. And then we're also going to do our chance for 6s and 7s. I'm going to switch you around so you can see my screen and get to sharing with you your stuff. Let me close this out first. Not quite working. Okay, we'll start here. All right, so first we're going to start with our 6s chance. Hopefully you can see this. We're going to do our 6s to the beat of Got the Beat. So here we go. Dukes up, JAS, good as gold. Let me hear your fingers roll. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60, 66, 72. Eagles got the beat. That was our 6s chant. Our 7s chant. Here we go. Dukes up. JS, good as gold. Let me hear your fingers roll. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70, 77, 84. Listen while we chant some more. Rolling. Okay, hopefully that was a refresher of those two chants from this year. Remember, you can also practice skip counting all the way up to your 12s and all the way back down. So let's model that with doing your 6s. So we would start at 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60, 66, 72. Then go back down. So 72, 66, 60, 54, 48, 42, 36, 30, 24, 18, 12, and 6. So you can practice skip counting up and down and to practice that skill and keep your brain sharp. All right, so let's move on to our questions for the day. I'm going to close out of this. Hopefully it works. Come on now. Let me bring these to the front. Hold on. There's that. All right, let's pick our first problem. Put it in front so you can see it here and get my whiteboard. Hopefully this works. I will rewatch this video today to make sure you can see the problem and see the work I'm doing on the board. So here's our first question. Travis's baseball team wants to order new uniforms. There are 12 boys on the team. Shirts cost $10, pants cost $9, hats cost $4. How much will it cost for all of the uniforms? So remember, we do a little something called tips. So think about the math that you see. Identify the keywords, make a plan, and then solve. That is our tips. So for T, I'm thinking that some of the important things are going to be that there's 12 boys on the team. I know here that the pant cost, shirt cost, and hat costs are going to be important. And let's look at the important, what math we would see in here. Well, when I'm trying to figure out how much something's going to cost in all, I'm probably going to need to add something. So I want to know how much the things are going to cost in all. So I had a shirt that cost $10, a pair of pants that was going to cost $9, and then a hat that was going to cost $4. So I want to know first, how much is that in all? And when we were doing an in all, we're going to add. So I can stack that. So 10 plus 9 is 19. 19, count up 4 more, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So we have $23 for the uniforms in all. I'm going to put $23 as the cost. Okay, but now let's think about, go kind of back up to here. We made a plan how to figure out the cost of one whole uniform, but here's the problem though. we have 12 boys on the team, and we want to know how much do the uniforms cost in all. So let's think about this. There's 12 boys. Each uniform costs $23. So we could do $23 is the cost times, because I hear that word each in there, $12 for, or 12 boys. Now, we have not done double-digit multiplication, but we know how to use a strategy called the distributive property to break this number apart into two parts to be able to solve them individually and then put them back together. So remember, we can break it into place values. So I can break it into 20 times 12 in parentheses plus, I'm going to run out of room. I'm going to have to erase my tips, plus 3 times 12. And that's going to give me that total number that I'm solving for right here. I'm going to use a U for the uniforms. Okay, so I know I can't do this yet, so I've broken it apart. 20 times 12 and 3 times 12. Well, if you remember when we multiply by a multiple of 10, you just multiply this first number times the number over here and then add a 0 at the end. So 2 times 12 is 24, and then put that 0 on the end, plus 3 times 12 is 36. Now we're going to add this up to find the total cost of the uniform. If you don't like to add horizontally, you can always stack vertically. 240 plus 36, 0 and 6 added together are 6, 4 and 3, 7, 2 plus nothing is 2. So we have $276 is our answer for this. Now remember, read, draw, write. We use the distributive property here to distribute out that 23 to draw out our problem. So now to write the answer, how much will all the uniforms cost? They will cost $276, period. Okay, so this was kind of a thinker of a problem. You had to kind of decide your steps first. You needed to know how much a uniform was going to cost so that then you could think about, okay, if each boy gets a uniform, that's 12 of them, 12 times that 23, then use the distributive property to break it apart because we haven't done double-digit multiplication yet. So we can do this and still get our correct answer. So hopefully that helped with that problem. Let's look at another problem. All right, here's my next problem. Let me move this old one out of the way. Oh, that moved both of them out of the way. All right, Kim. Kim found 7 frogs on Monday and 8 frogs on Tuesday by the pond near her house. Each frog ate 5 flies. How many more flies did the frogs she found on Tuesday have than the frogs she found on Monday? So we're comparing the frogs she found on Monday to the frogs she found on Tuesday. So I know somewhere in there when I'm comparing two things, I'm probably going to subtract. But first, I'm going to think about what the total will be of the flies, because we're trying to figure out which frogs ate more flies. Well, if you look up in our word problem here, 7 frogs on Monday and then 8 frogs on Tuesday. Each frog ate 5 flies. There's that keyword that we see when we're doing multiplication. So we're going to figure out how many flies each frog ate on Monday and on Tuesday separately. So let's start with just Monday. So my plan is to start with Monday. I know that there was 7 frogs. And then each frog ate 7, or not 7, each frog, it's right here, ate 5 flies. So when we hear that each, 7 is our group of frogs times 5 flies each, and that's going to equal our answer. Now, if you need to use one of your strategies, whether it's skip counting, making an array, or I'm going to show you how to do a tape diagram. Remember, you can use that to solve if you aren't the best at your 5s or 7s yet. So, draw out your tape diagram. This is for Monday's frog. We know that there are how many groups? This would be our groups. So there's 7 groups. So I'm going to make 7 parts to my thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Double check that you have 7 in there. So I have 7 groups with 5 flies in each frog belly. Now, I'm looking for the total number of frogs. This is what I don't know. So you can take the time to draw out your 5 dots, or if you're getting good at skip counting, you can put your 5s in there instead. I'm just gonna go ahead and put a 5 in there. So count with me, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So there were 35 flies on Monday. So here's Monday's total was 35. But we're not stopping there. We have to do Tuesday's total. So let's see. Tuesday, she found 8 frogs. And each of those 8 frogs ate 5 flies. We can use the same strategy here, or you could try another one. So I know there's 8 frogs on Tuesday. Each frog ate 5 flies. And I'm going to skip count by 8s to get my answer this time. So I have 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. So I stopped with 5 fingers using that strategy. So my answer is 40. So the total for Tuesday was 40 flies. But if you remember when we were thinking and seeing the math in this problem, it wanted to know how many more flies did she find on Tuesday than on Monday. So when we're comparing 2 things, we're comparing Tuesday's total to Monday's total, we need to subtract to find the difference. So we're going to take Tuesday's total, which is 40, minus Monday's total, which is 35, and then subtract those. 0 take away 5. Can you do that? No. So you have to go next door, take a set of 10 away. So what's left is 30. Go back to the 0, give it a set of 10. So now we have 10. 10 take away 5 is 5. It's a double. 3 take away 3 is nothing. Now, I showed the long subtraction algorithm. You might have been able to see 40 and 35 and know that the difference was automatically 5 flies. So how many more flies did she eat on, or she didn't eat them, the frogs did. Kim doesn't eat flies. So how many more flies did the frogs she found on Tuesday have than the frogs she found on Monday? They ate 5 more flies. So redraw right, or use a strategy. You can use the skip counting strategy. Show your work, write out the problems, and then make sure you write out your complete sentence to answer the question. All right, let's do another one. See if I can get this to work a little better. All right, we've already done Kim. Let's do Bob. Good old Bob. He went shopping. So it says Bob bought 10 tulips and 8 daffodils for his garden. Each tulip costs $6. Each daffodil costs $5. How much did the flowers cost altogether? So thinking about this, I know there's important numbers with 10 and 8, and then 6 and 5. I see a couple key math words in there. I see each a couple of times, and then I see this all together. So I know when I see each, that means I need to multiply, and when I see all together, it means I need to add something. So to kind of start making my plan, to figure out how much he spent altogether, I first need to figure out how much did he spend on daffodils, and then how much did he spend on tulips. So remember, one of the best tricks to solving a word problem is to picture it in your mind. Really picture Bob. He's at the lawn and garden store. He has this cart. It's got 10 plants of tulips and 8 plants of daffodils. And then there's that little price sticker that has $6 on each tulip and $5 on each daffodil. And then I want to know how much is going to be spent when it gets up to that cash register. So picture that in your mind so you can figure out what your steps are going to be. So my first step, I want to start with tulips. How much tulips does he have, and how much do each of them cost? Well, he bought 10 tulips, and they each cost $6. Now, let's use a different strategy just to refresh. Maybe you're not good with your 6s or your 10s yet, and you don't just know the answer. So let's make an array. So I'm going to have 10 rows, and each row is going to have 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's our 10 rows, and then I'm going to put those 6 in each. Now remember, the reason we want to become fluent with our multiplication facts, oops, almost messed up my rows there, is because some of these strategies that we use do help us get the right answer, but they kind of take a little bit of time. And we want to get quicker at our multiplication. So if you can become more fluent, it's going to be way faster just to know 10 times 6 than it is to use this strategy. So I have 10 rows with 6 in each row, and now I could go and count by 6s to see what I get to. So 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, and 60. I almost forgot. So, or you could go along and count each individual dot. There's our 10 rows of 6. So 10 rows of 6 is going to cost him $60. Those are some expensive tulips. All right, now let's do daffodils. I got hiccups. There were 8 daffodils, and they each cost $5. We're trying to find their total cost. So let's use a different strategy. Let's skip count by 8s till we get 5 fingers up again. So 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. We did that on that last problem, and we got 40. So you can use skip counting as a strategy. You can use and make an array as a strategy. You can use a tape diagram as a strategy, or if you just have your multiplication problem facts memorized, by the time you know how to do a multiplication problem, you can see 8 times 5 is 40. So are we done? The answer is no. It doesn't answer our question here. All we have figured out so far is that tulips cost $60 and daffodils cost $40. But the question asked us, let's go back and reread it, how much did the flowers cost all together? So there was that other math word we were paying attention to, all together. We know that when we hear all together, that we need to add all together. So we have 60 plus 40. Stack it, add it, 0 and 0 is 0. 6 plus 4 more is a nice set of 10. So we end up with $100. So how much did the flowers cost all together? The flowers cost $100, period. Did we read it? Did we draw it? Did we write it? I believe we did. So read, draw, write, and use tips to help you think through your problem. And just remember, read it like it's a story and picture the story in your head so you can see. Also, those are some seriously expensive flowers. So that was our third problem. Let's do, I think I have one more math review problem before you head off to do math on your own this week. Yes, I haven't done Lisa's problem yet. Let's see if I can get that fixed. There we go. All right, so here's our last problem. Lisa wanted to raise money to buy birthday gifts for 2 of her friends. She decides to sell her stuffed animals at a garage sale. She sold 4 stuffed animals for $3 each. Lisa wants to spend the same amount on each gift. How much can Lori, I didn't change the name there, spend on each friend's gift? So let's start. First, think about the math that you see. Well, important numbers, she's got 2 friends, 4 stuffed animals, and they each cost $3. And we want to know how to spend that money on 2 of her friends. So I see each, so I know somewhere in there I'm going to multiply. And then I see this part right here, the same amount on each gift. So if she has 2 friends and she wants to take whatever total amount of money she has here and spend it on 2 friends, then she's going to need to divide that money equally. So I'm picturing she's sold her stuffed animals at a garage sale, and she's putting $1 here and $1 here and $1 here and $1 here until she gets an equal amount on for each friend. So let's start with finding out first. I think we need to figure out how much money she gets before we can know how much money she spends. So let's start with, she had 4 stuffed animals. Each one she sold for $3. So here's our math for that. Now, if you need to use a tape diagram or one of the other strategies, by all means, you can do that. So we know that there's 4 stuffed animals, so that's going to be our groups, with $3 is what they each cost. So I'm going to split my groups up here. And I'm going to go ahead and do dots this time so you can see remember what the dotted version looks like. So I have 4 groups, $3 each, and I want to find the total amount she earns from that. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So she ends up with 12 whole dollars. Okay, now we need to take this total and we've got to figure out a fair way to share it between her 2 friends. So remember when we took the total and then we're going to split it into 2 friends? That's division. So we have 12 divided by 2 friends. Now, if you're like, division, don't panic. Use your tape diagram strategy here. So remember, it's going to be backwards. Our total now, our total dollars is 12. And then we know that she has 2 friends, and the friends are going to be our group, because we don't know how much money they're each going to get. The in each is missing. Put a blank up here for that. So I'm going to make my 2 groups, and then remember the strategy, fair share. You're going to fair share this 12 until you find the answer and share all the stuff. Now, remember, that's how I pictured sharing the dollars back and forth. Exact same thing. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Said 12, so I fair shared my 12. And now how many do I have in each group? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our fair share got that there were $6 for each girl or friend. She doesn't say if it's both two girls. Could be a girl and a guy. All right, so to answer our final question, how much can Lori spend on each friend's gift? She can spend $6. Period. Buy some really good fun stuff at the dollar store if you did that. So, did we read it? Did we draw it? Did we write it? Yes. Did you use tips? Did you think about the math? Identify the math clue words. Did you make a plan and then solve it? Yes, we did. So, just a reminder that when you're working for math word problems, you want to take your time to understand what it is telling you and what's going on. Use those good reader skills to figure out who is it about, what are they doing, where are they at, what's happening. Because doing that will help you understand the math that you need to think about. So just like that last problem that we did, understanding that she's selling her teddy bears and getting all the money, knowing that then she had the whole amount of money and she needed to split it into two friends, that helped us know that we need to multiply each bear by $3. Then take that total money and break it apart, which meant we needed to divide. So use those good reader strategies to help you out with your math word problems. Hopefully this review kind of refreshes some things on, excuse me, I have the hiccups today, on how to approach these word problems using tips and the read, draw, write method. And just take your time and practice these out. Showing your work is the best way to find where you've done a mistake if you get the wrong answer. And hopefully this helped you kind of refresh that little brain of yours and help you remember what all we have worked on this year, because we have worked on a lot. So hope you have a great rest of your day and week, and I hope this helped. Remember to practice your multiplication, chance, and skip counting so you can become fluent multipliers, because then math will take way less time because you won't have to be thinking about little easy facts. So have a great one. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.